This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Rock, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
I don't know. It looks like the intro took a shit, but we are here, and it's Knockouts and 3 Counts. I survived another Tuesday and didn't go postal, so we're doing all right. But we've got a great guest for you tonight. We've got the return of our friend Miranda Gordy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
Can't complain.
Good.
Doing pretty damn well myself.
Nice.
That's nice to hear. Well, I mean, talk about doing well. I mean, you had quite a few new stops in 2021, and you're about to make another new stop this Friday when you're taking on the former Ring of Honor champ, Rok C. I mean, so before we get to MLW and all that stuff, how do you feel? Tell me how you're feeling about 2021 for you, because I say that because the last time we talked, it was right before you had your WWE tryout, or right after, I think, and then now you did NWA, you know, you got the Bad and Bourgois thing doing deal. Then you've got the new Freebirds. I mean, hot damn, you guys you've been all over the place lately. So catch us up.
I have. I've just been doing everything. I've been kind of all over the country since we talked. I've hit a lot of major promotions. I plan on doing a lot more with the major promotions this year. And I am booked all the way to like November. Not booked full, but like I have bookings all the way that far. You know, hopefully I'm still wrestling by then. You never know. And just, I mean, living life, enjoying it while I can, and making a little money and making the rounds, making history, all of that.
It's a good problem to have all the way to November. Gee.
Right.
What's it like knowing that you're just going to be spreading your wings going all over the place for that many months? Like it's you kind of hear that stuff from regular active people that are based with one organization and just make their, you know, continual appearances through them. But you're going to be all over the place. So how does that feel, signing that up year up?
I mean, I'm excited. Traveling has always been one of my favorite things to do. And so the travel is the fun part. Obviously, the wrestling is fun too. I like being at new places, and I have a lot of new places coming up. So that's always exciting. You get to go meet new people and work for a new promotion in front of a new crowd. And so it's like something new every week. And of course, that's like, you know, that's always exciting for us. It's like a present every week or something. So I'm excited to hit all these other places. I'm super excited about MLW. Right now, I only have the one show coming up, but hopefully it stems into something more, which would be like super awesome for me.
Well, I mean, with the rate you've been going so far, I mean, like I said, you know, you had the NWA thing going, you know, you were at SWE all the time, you know, we all know you had the WWE tryout. I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before we're going to end up seeing you on one of those. And you've also done AEW Dark. So, I mean, you've pretty much already touched base with them all at this point. It's just pretty much which one's going to play tag, you're it. So,
right.
if we're talking serious, think about it. I mean, in one calendar year, you essentially had some sort of contact with every one of the major promotions almost outside of New Japan, unless you had contact with them too.
Right. No, not yet. The only thing I think I'm missing is like ROH and Impact. Right. And then I like after these couple months, I'll be you know, even if you count extra work at WWE, then I'll be hitting all the major promotions within a year, which not a lot of people can say. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome just for kind of messing around. Like, it's not exactly like a full-time career, but not a hobby, you know? And so I'm doing better than a lot. So yeah, I guess maybe we'll make that a goal. ROH and Impact.
That's the thing. Like everybody, I'd like to see people jumping around like that, the whole forbidden door thing. It's cool to see everybody go in company to company. Like, who wants to be in one company? You're handcuffed. Nobody wants to do that. It's cool to see your face everywhere else.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you get yourself in front of every crowd, not just one crowd, but every single crowd. You know, if someone's watching AEW, they see me. If someone's watching MLW, they see me, or NWA or whatever. Hopefully, I get to do more with NWA too. So, and the Free Babes. Me and Haley J have done a couple things with OVW. Hopefully, we continue to do that. Now we got to get Jazzy involved and just get that ball rolling. And of course, me and Niles have our tag team. We got a couple of cool things coming up. We have a big one, Kush Fest in San Antonio on 420. I'm
Sounds
super
like a
excited
good
about that. I'm super excited about that. I've been talking to the promoter all week. Like, San Antonio is really cool, and of course, like, I've never done a fest like that, and so I'm like super looking forward to that.
Kyle's booking his flight right now.
I could just imagine.
Hey, first of all, I've already got a flight booked to Dallas for Mania weekend, so I'm sure you're going to be down there for that. So at some point, like I said, it's going to be a good time in Dallas. We'll leave it at that. It's going to be a good damn time in Dallas. All I know is me and Megaran are headed down there, and the last time I was out there with Megaran in Vegas, we were out till I was up from 5 a.m. Nashville time till 5 a.m. Vegas time after going to SummerSlam, and it was fucking yeah. So I think it's going to be round 2 in Texas. Although, with that being said, before I get there, good Lord, if you're listening, please don't let me run into the next mini Texas snowstorm where they shut the whole damn state down over 2 feet of snow.
Jeez, right? I think
literally
they had
made
snow
the last
this last
plane out for
weekend.
that.
Right. So I'm up near Kansas City, and we've had snow like all week. Luckily, it's starting to melt. But it's funny you mentioned Dallas and Vegas, because I'll literally be coming from Vegas on the 2nd to WrestleMania. So I'm going to be like, woo, partied out.
Yo, we definitely got to link up, because I will be there Thursday to Sunday. Like I said, it's me and Megaran are headed down there. So who the hell knows where we're going to end up?
Right.
Speaking of go ahead, Corey.
I know you brought up Ring of Honor a couple times already throughout this interview in the short time we've already had you. What's your thoughts on kind of the way everything's played out over the last couple months and kind of their refresh going forward, I guess you could say?
I mean, it's really awesome that they were able to hang on and do well by their contracted, wrestlers through the pandemic. And I totally understand where they had to take a break, because like they're a company and they got to regroup, and I'm glad they're coming back, and they're coming back to Dallas, I believe. So they're going to do their thing in the spring, and I'm glad that people are going to continue to work for ROH. And I mean, it happens, I was glad to see Rok C get the women's belt. She's super passionate about the business. Like, I've talked to her before, and it was kind of inspiring how much she liked it. So I was super proud of her to get that. And now I get to face her, and she's got a lot of big things coming. So it'll be nice to watch her grow up in this business, because she's so young. So she has a bright future. And hopefully all those people will kind of get their jobs back, even though a lot of exciting things have happened. Like, you see the FTR and Briscoe brothers kind of going back and forth. So hopefully that gets a bigger stage, and then they can kind of carry it on from AEW to ROH and do a lot of that stuff with those ROH people in AEW.
So that's another thing I wanted to ask you about. So we talk about that with Ring of Honor, and obviously everybody that listens to this show knows that we have rocked with Ring of Honor pretty heavy. Hell, last week we had the last real man, Silas Young, on with us. I mean, we've had Shane Taylor on with us recently. We had Mike Bennett on with us last year. So, I mean, we've been rocking with Ring of Honor for a while. So it's a bummer to kind of see the way it went down, at least in the sense that when Ring of Honor, comes back, it's definitely going to be a different look, whatever it is, when you already know, like, Jay Lethal's in AEW. You already know Brody King is in AEW. Like, there's already a bunch of guys and girls that have signed everywhere. But it's nice to see that they're still keeping the titles alive, which, with that being said, as you go into this match with MLW, I mean, it's got to be a little bit of a bummer now that the title's not going to be involved anymore, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of bummed. You know, that the title's not on the line, but a former ROH champ is still just as good, I think. You know, she was a champ, she proved herself, and now we're gonna see how it goes in Dallas. So I think it's just as exciting and just as much of a fight. You know, it doesn't mean anything different. Former, current, it is what it is.
So what are your thoughts on MLW as a whole? Like, I mean, they've been somebody I've said it multiple times on this show, that I think MLW is going to be one of the ones that kind of emerge out a little bit. I don't know necessarily how big they'll grow to, but I feel like with Ring of Honor closing down, or however this is going to look with the hiatus thing, I feel like MLW is going to be one of them smaller companies that kind of capitalizes on all those people that are out there. What are your thoughts about getting to mess with MLW? And even better, what are your thoughts on debuting in Dallas?
So debuting in Dallas, I'm super excited. This is going to be super special for me. The Von Erichs will be there. It's in Dallas, obviously the history. So that part, I'm like, it's going to be an honor, and it's going to probably like pull at my heartstrings a little bit. Just to be in Dallas, it'll be a big deal. As far as MLW, from what I know, they're trying to build up their women's division. So as a woman, that's very exciting for me. It's another opportunity for all these women, like the ROH girls and all the free agents out there now have another place that they can help build up you know, a whole side of the company that they've never had. So I think that's something to look forward to with MLW.
It's cool that the cards kind of fell in place with that, the whole Dallas thing and the Von Erichs on the same card like that. If that's not wrestling history writing itself, dude, come on. I mean, come
Absolutely.
on. Right?
Yeah.
Jeez. That's
I mean, plus
right
we've already seen they've brought Kevin up a few times for the stuff with the Von Erich. So like I said, he definitely hit the nail on the head with that one. That's definitely a cool look, but that also brings up something else that we need to talk about. You know, you also mentioned how last year, you know, you got the debut with NWA and how you guys got the Free Babes. First of all, tell me your thoughts on the whole NWA thing. What did it mean to you with, you know, your dad's history and all that stuff as well? And what are your thoughts on, tell me how the Free Babes came to be? Because I thought the last time we talked, I thought it was a one-man gang solo deal, and then she's got her own deal going. So tell me what the deal is with the Free Babes and NWA.
I had a great time at NWA. The Empowerr, it's a part of history, and the whole show was just off the chain. It was amazing. Every match was spectacular. I really enjoyed myself there. Great locker room, just great talent all around. Mickie James was kind of the head of that, and she's great. She's super sweet, and she put a great thing together that we all have a memory of, and it's a part of history, and it's something that NWA has never done before. As far as the Free Babes, like I said, we're trying to get the ball rolling, trying to do more stuff with that. Mickie James put us together. She wanted a second generation tag team to kind of be a part of mine, and we played around with a couple names, and we came up with Haley J, whose mom was a wrestler, so she's a second gen, and then of course Jazzy, who's Jimmy Yang's daughter. Jimmy actually at one point tagged with my brother. So it kind of comes full circle. I enjoyed what little time that night I had with them, and the match with Red Velvet and Kylan was a lot of fun, even though we lost. But I'm hoping to do more with them. We're on all opposite sides of the country from each other, so unfortunately we don't get to hit like any indie shows together. But we seem to have a little scene with the NWA, and people are constantly like, oh, we want to see the Free Babes, because I read the comments, and every once in a while I'll get tagged, oh, we want to see more Free Babes. And so maybe one day you'll see the Free Babes go for those titles against Marty Bell and Sienna.
See, we've already got people in the comments talking about the Free Babes too. See?
Yeah. I don't know what other names were up for discussion, but I think you guys chose a pretty good one there. I think that one will be pretty catchy to all the fans that end up hearing it.
I
Oh,
love
the Free
history
Babes.
behind
Mickey
it.
James
Yeah.
came up with that. Like she called me one day and she's like, I have this idea and I'm gonna call y'all the Free Babes. And I'm like, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I
Works for
need
me.
a Badstreet t-shirt, by the way. Badstreet USA t-shirt. I can't find those anywhere. I just can't find them. I found one
So,
person. One
for
person
the
tried to sell me
longest
one on Facebook
time,
Marketplace.
they were not for sale. Like you'd have to go to eBay and get like a classic one. The WWE recently started doing some of the old school stuff because Michael called me and he was kind of telling me about it. They released Michael's figure, the Badstreet figure, and they've started selling the Badstreet shirts at their shows. So if you want to pay a lot of money for a Badstreet shirt, you can get it from WWE.
That's what I tried to get one on. It was Facebook Marketplace, and I tried on eBay also. But I mean, you gotta have some deep pockets.
He was
man,
searching
like that.
Dang.
I mean, who doesn't want a Badstreet USA t-shirt? I mean, the Freebirds were the shit. I mean, come on, am I right?
Hey, I'm
Remember-
not mad at
I
you.
mean, I don't know. I know we got to go back in the archives for shows like that. But like the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs, dude, there was some nights where the crowds were so crazy with those. Like that's wrestling history for me. I like to go back. Like I like to watch wrestling before I was born, and that shit was something crazy. Like that was wild, dude.
All right. Well, that's a good question too, especially with you being the hip hop guy, J-Bone. Ken's asking in the comments. He goes, since you guys got the Free Babes, are you guys going to remix the Badstreet song for your guys' intro or something?
So I actually use a cover from a band called Crossfire. The lead singer is a wrestler, and it's Badstreet. You can look it up, Crossfire with a Y instead of an I. They're from, I forgot where exactly they're from, like over in Europe somewhere. It's Michael Modulati, and he's the lead singer. He's a wrestler, like a 30-year vet. He's well known internationally. They did a great job. I actually happened to be at a Leonard Skinner concert. Someone sent me the link. I started listening to it. And I'm like, this is pretty badass. I messaged the drummer and he's like, absolutely, you can totally use this. And so we kind of put some stuff in place, and I've been using it since SWE. So like 2 years now. I've been using the Crossfire cover of Badstreet. It's more updated, more modern. People seem to like it. It's catchy. It's my ringtone and my engine music. But we have that. I have not found like a remix version of Badstreet, but if there's like a hip hop one out there, I'd love to hear it.
All right, so hell, maybe I'll have to suggest that to you'll have to suggest that to Megaran when we link up in Dallas.
Absolutely, yes.
I guarantee you he could come up with some cool shit for it, which I don't know if you guys saw, and for the past viewers of the show, you know, it's been announced now that they've put it out that Megaran is going to be part of the AEW Black History Month project that they're putting together for that. So he's got some stuff coming out on there, and something tells me you might be hearing about a little bit more stuff with that stuff, but I'll let him tell you that. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a good time down there. Like I said, it's funny that he brings up the song because I was thinking about this the other day. So when I was doing research on some stuff I was going to ask you, you know, I stumbled upon like videos of people like trying to sing the Badstreet song. So here's the question. How many times have you ended up doing that on like karaoke or some shit, or getting somebody to try to get you to sing that shit? Because I feel like it would be like a given since they did that at their Hall of Fame ceremony too.
Okay. So I personally have never done it on karaoke, but I have heard Michael sing it basically any time that I'm with him, which is I've grown up with the guy. So, you know, I've heard it a million times. I've heard him sing it a million times. People will actually send it to me and ask if I've heard it, which I'm like, yeah,
no,
I have.
No shit.
Yeah, no, they will. Like probably once every other week, someone will send me the link and they're like, hey, I'm sure you might have heard it, but was just making sure that you knew about it. Like, yeah, I know all about it. It's my answer to he's like, I know all about it.
You would think, and the worst of it is some of the shit I can only imagine because wrestling fans and MMA fans, I swear, I love you guys because you're the people that watch our show. But I mean, at the same time, holy shit, did we pick like the two most special breeds of fans like ever? Like, I'm just being honest, man, because like
Very unique.
the amount of dumb shit you hear when you're watching a fight, or vice versa when it comes to wrestling, it's like I don't even bother trying to explain for anybody anymore because like it's pretty much become to the point where it's like now, because everybody knows that we do the podcast, anytime they got a wrestling question, somehow I get asked. And it's like, if I can already tell that you're not really trying to listen to what I'm going to tell you, I'm not even going to fucking bother anymore because it doesn't. I mean, like I say, they're like the most loyal fans in the world, but the most fickle at the same fucking time.
Yes, I know they all, for the most part, mean well. It's just kind of like, let's connect the dots before we start, let's make it make sense,
I don't even know if we can jump to the conclusion anymore with all the internet trolls out there that they mean well anymore. I mean, honestly, it seems like half of these people don't even mean well anymore. They're just out there to stir the pot more than they are anything.
That's true too. Yeah, it's probably all trolls. They're like tired of hearing it, so they're like, "We're gonna push it back on her." Have you heard Badstreet, Miranda?
I mean, let's be honest, man. We've had trolls all pissed off with us for interview from over a year ago. Like, literally had the thing blow up from like under 100 views over to like 3.2 thousand views, all because somebody didn't like the fact that we don't censor our guests on this show. So,
oh gosh.
I mean, hey, like I said, I don't feel bad. Shit needed to be said, but it's funny. These trolls that come up in these comments, it's the funniest thing in the world because they will call you every sort of name or slur or, calling them the N-word and all this other stuff, and I'm like, dude, you guys got big balls behind them keyboards.
That's why they do it behind the
But
keyboard,
I mean,
though.
dude,
Behind the keyboard.
Yeah.
Like I said, eventually you're gonna have to come out from behind the keyboards, man. And I feel bad for some of these people that are gonna end up having to answer for this kind of shit because I think the pandemic has just exposed a bunch of keyboard warriors. I feel like.
Pretty much.
I mean, if you watched playoff football this weekend, you could see some fickle fans out there in Dallas. That's for damn sure. They turned on their team pretty damn quick.
Oh, man. They couldn't wait to, turn their backs on the Cowboys, get mad.
They were throwing bottles. I seen them throwing trash and bottles on the field.
And then they tried to say it was at the refs, and it was like, I don't know. The whole dude, one of your players had to defend a bottle with his helmet. I don't know if it was at the refs or not, man.
Right.
Come on. So since you watched the playoffs, who are you rolling with? How do you think it's going to play out?
What? I'm sorry. That was a couple of questions right there.
So I was saying with, since you watched all the Wild Card Sunday and all that stuff, how do you think we're shaking out in the Super Bowl? Who do you think's going to Super Bowl?
Oh, I only catch the aftermath of games. I don't really keep up with football. It could literally be probably one of the New England states because they're always there. And then, you know what I mean? Wherever Tom Brady is, they're going to the Super Bowl. And that's all I know.
I had to proudly rock my Buffalo Bills today because of the fact they put out the New England Patriots in the first round. So
nice. Okay.
I had to proudly rock that one. Josh Allen, let me just throw this out there. He had more touchdown passes than he did incompletions. That's just the wildest stat I've ever heard of. He had it was five throwing touchdowns and 4 incompletions throughout the game. And
pretty impressive.
That's wild. That's wild numbers.
You think he could top Brady though? I mean, come on, Brady's he's unreal.
Brady is the GOAT for a reason, and I said it, and I told him it right after this. Shout out to our buddy Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch. I think Chris was just a good luck charm because he was at the fucking game, and then they go out there and basically 30 zipped them fuckers before Philly even scored anything. So, I mean, look, if you're a betting man betting against Tom Brady, I mean, if you're a betting man or a betting woman, I mean, betting against Tom Brady is usually never, never a good thing because
it doesn't pay off very much.
I think these games are a little lopsided, man. I think Tom Brady should just play these teams by himself.
There you go.
You better hope he knows the Matrix or some shit, dude.
If anybody does, it's Tom Brady.
I mean, hey, look, being a U of M fan, Tom Brady will always have a place in my cold beating heart. Like I say, I hope they do good, but I've been one of the ones that said the whole time everybody hating on Brady and shit. I'm like, look, man, he came from U of M. I rock with him because he's from U of M, and I feel like at this point, motherfuckers are just hating because he's great. I'm just saying.
Well, he's playing Stafford this weekend, so I want to see Stafford get him a ring.
Hell yeah, I want Stafford to win too. Oh, I didn't tell you about this. Son of a bitch. So Devin lives in Dallas, so he can't bet from over there. So he called me and he goes, "Bro, I don't know why, but I have this sneaking suspicion that what if I looked at the odds for Stafford to win MVP, and it was like some stupid ass shit to where like he put in 200, and if he wins, we're gonna win like $3,000." So he had me put it in, and once I saw them play like they did the other night, I'm like, son of a bitch, let him win the MVP real quick. I'm down to make me a couple extra bucks because I didn't even have to put in the bet. I'm just gonna like reap the rewards on this shit. So, like I said,
take your tax out of that, man. Take your tax out of that. Take your tax out of that when you go to Texas.
I think that he pretty well lost himself that though in the last couple weeks of the season because for some
even if they make it through and get to the Super Bowl,
listen, for some odd reason they do not count the playoffs in MVP voting. It's only the regular season. So it doesn't matter how good he does throughout the playoffs. And then the last 2 or 3 games.
I feel like if they win the championship, it would still have to like. I don't know. I feel like it would have to. Like, I feel like if they won the championship, even though you can't quote unquote count the playoff games, it has to like count to some degree. And damn it, stop pissing on my parade. I can use some extra money. All right.
Damn committee.
Stop trying to piss on my parade, you Buffalo Bill fan. I mean, last time I heard they had Tommy Dreamer out there giving people the DVD through tables and shit. That's their good luck charm. So, I mean, if you're that for the Bills, why don't you volunteer yourself as tribute, motherfucker?
Tables and dildos.
If it works.
Hey,
right,
man.
I'm like, I would watch Tommy Dreamer do that.
Listen, if it took a DVD from Tommy Dreamer through a table for the Lions to even make it to the playoffs, I'm standing on.
I'll do it. Shit, we've already had some weird shit happen when we interviewed people before. I mean, hell, when we interviewed Brutus Beefcake, he cut our buddy JC from Dave and Chuck the Freak's hair off right after I got done with the interview. Perfect. So, I mean, shit, it wouldn't be the first time some shit like that happened. Hell, as long as it got footage on it, I mean, hell, let's do it. Fuck it.
Right.
I mean, WWE is thinking that at this point with, the whole thing with Johnny Knoxville. But speaking of that, what are your thoughts on we mentioned Mickie James, you said that's where you got the name. What are your thoughts on her getting to be in the Rumble as Knockouts champ?
I think it's great. I think, everyone talks about the forbidden door and all that. That's just one step closer to easing that door open. And hopefully one day, like they don't have to get along, but all the promotions can maybe swap talent or do stuff like bringing, like they're doing with Mickie James, bringing her in, even though she's a champ somewhere else, bring her in, even if she gets like eliminated immediately, she's still there. You're still getting your foot in the door. I think it opens the door of creativity. So I think you could do a lot of stuff with that. You could see a lot of matches, like a lot of dream matches. And that's a big thing. You could see people from AEW versus WWE people on the main stage. And I think that would be the biggest draw. I think people would kind of come back to wrestling. Like it would revive it. People could see what they've always wanted to see.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. Go ahead.
It would definitely make for some dream matches. That's for sure. But as for like is it surprising to see WWE of all people? Like we've seen AEW kind
Fuck
of go
yeah,
this
it's
route
surprising.
where they've had like, you know, a ton of champions that they've allowed to do like, you know, their own thing and independent promotions and stuff. But WWE, it really, it doesn't even seem like a forbidden door. It's like a forbidden, like hidden gate.
It's a whole nother
behind
world over
Poison
there.
Ivy, behind like, you know.
Yeah, that's one of Vince's thing is he doesn't acknowledge other promotions. That's been something that's always been. He just doesn't acknowledge them. And so not only for them to bring Mickie James in as someone else's champ, but to acknowledge that she is the champ. Yeah. That's a big deal. Like I said, it might be just a centimeter, but it's a centimeter of opening that door, you know? So it's one step closer. I think it's a fantastic thing.
Agreed.
I definitely like it, especially with the fact that we know Charlotte's going to be in there as champ, and they got that stipulation that if she wins, she's going to get to pick her shot. Well, what if hypothetically, she ends up in like the final four or some shit and have them fight? I mean, hell, you want to talk about something that would make noise? I don't think it'll happen, but that shit would be dope if they did.
Oh, absolutely. If you want viewers, even, like people would tune in just to see how it goes, wrestling fan or not. They want to see like, what are they going to do with that? Because it's not been done. So it's something new. And I think it would absolutely draw attention. We'll see.
I definitely think so too, especially with the way like their women's division is kind of like been put on the back burner to a sense. Yeah. Like at least from where it was a couple years ago, when they had the Evolution pay-per-view and all that. So I think something like that, like you said, would be absolutely dope. But you mentioned the Forbidden Door. Well, the original ones to talk about the Forbidden Door were AEW, and you got to work with them a little bit last year as well. What are your thoughts on AEW and your time over there? And what do you what are your thoughts on like there versus like not even like as a company versus company? What are the biggest differences you see at all these different places? Like we said, you got to do NWA, you got to do AEW, you're about to go do MLW. Do you notice like a big difference in the feel at each one of these places?
Yeah, they're all kind of different. I mean, they're obviously high production and stuff like that. And I would say AEW is more laid back in behind the curtain as far as their production and the talent and stuff. It's kind of more chill as opposed to WWE, which is, I mean, I guess it's different for me. I've just always kind of gone back there, but they seem more like, I guess if you would call them like business professional, and then AEW's kind of let's chill and have a good time type of thing. Not that either one of them was a bad time. They're both fun, but that's kind of the difference. Like you have a lot of younger people, kind of like indie star type people in AEW, and then you have the WWE and like people that we've seen for years and they're a little bit older and stuff like that. That's kind of the big difference. I mean, everyone's treated well at both have great catering. Like, so
that's what we're talking about. It's the motherfucking food. That's what we're talking about.
That'd be the first thing I'd ask about.
Right. That's it. Like, I'm like, who's got the best?
Show me where catering is and let me know what time I need to be here.
I will say, though, when it comes to catering, and I was a little late for NWA's catering, but they ordered Emo's Pizza out of St. Louis, which is probably the worst pizza I've ever had. And I'm not going to knock NWA for it. I'm going to knock Emo's Pizza. It's cardboard with some cheese on it. It's gross. No. So it does not reflect NWA at all. I'm just stating that. But they were at the Chase, which is a beautiful hotel. So I guess it evens out, right?
Tag them on Twitter. They got to do better. We can't have bad pizza in this world. If there's anything
and it's not a knock on NWA. Like I said, anytime I go to St. Louis, for some reason, those people think it's like the best pizza, and it's just not. So let's do better, St. Louis.
Damn it, St. Louis, get better pizza. Get your shit together. Get your cheese in the line.
Yeah, it's just not good. Of all the pizza, and man, I've had a lot of pizza in my day. It's probably the worst. I'd rather have the frozen pizza, like the $1.99 little party pizzas you get. I'd rather have that. Emos is not good.
That's
I know I'm being a Karen right now. They're gonna they're gonna come at me.
That is
I'm being such a
really
Karen.
low bar, though. That's like
I mean, if
can't
you're
think of
that
much worse
passionate
pizza
about
than
it,
that.
I'm gonna take your word for it that pizza was trash. Because I'm just saying.
I mean, you're welcome to try it, but
I mean,
but don't waste your money.
Look here, I already got stomach issues, so like knowing that off the rip, I'm definitely not trying that shit. Like knowing that off the rip, that's the last thing I'm about to do because I already know how this story ends, and it's not going to be a good time for your boy. Like I said, Dallas is going to be a good time, but Dallas ain't going to be a good time if I eat that cardboard cutter pizza and shit. Like,
it's only in St. Louis. It's only in St. Louis, so you don't go worry.
All right,
Dallas has like so many cultures. You can find all kinds of dank, like Mexican food. Obviously, is the number one, but like you can find all kinds of stuff in Dallas. St. Louis.
It's gonna be a good time. Like I said, we definitely. We shoot these vlogs. When we go to these different shows. Hell, that might have to be like a clip. Me and Miranda will go find some place to fucking eat. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we'll do when we get down to Dallas. Let's find some fucking place to eat. But speaking of that, we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Tell me about Bad and Bourgois, man. You guys got the new gear out. I saw all that stuff. How are your thoughts on everything with that? And is there anybody in particular, you guys would like to tangle up with?
So before the Free Babes came out, obviously Craig or Niles, him and I are together. He's my partner. And so we decided to do a tag team, and I'm bad. I'm the bad part of it. And he is, you can pronounce it a couple different ways. Some people say bougie, or bourgeois, I guess would be the actual. If you look it up, like
I didn't know what it was, to be honest. I know I've heard you guys say it, but I was like, well, that's my best guess.
Most people say bougie, and so the classic heel thing to do would be to correct people. Obviously, it's bourgeois, So that's him. Like his character, because it's Niles Plonk, but you're supposed to pronounce it Plonke. Because it classes it up a bit. So it's bourgeois when people ask. We just kind of started it because we were doing a lot of mixed tag things in Tennessee, and we haven't got to do a lot of stuff. But now that people are seeing the pictures, we've actually acquired like 3 or 4 bookings. We got the matching gear. We're ready to go. We have some tag team stuff lined up. Like I said, we're in Kush Fest in San Antonio on 420. That's our big one. We have a couple things in Tennessee coming up. I'm trying to think of where else. We have one in September in Arkansas again. Just kind of all over. Whoever does mixed tags. Some promotions are not into mixed tags yet. We're hoping they do better this year. But some states you actually can't do mixed tags, like Oklahoma. We hope they do better this year too. So we're just kind of filling it out. The thing with tag teams is, to be totally blunt, a lot of people don't want to pay 2 people. You know what I mean? That's it. Because you actually have to pay 4 people. So if you're bringing in one tag team, you got to bring in another team. And I understand, like, budgets are a thing, and trying to find another good tag team is a whole nother animal. So wherever we can do it, we're doing it this year.
So what's the pre-match wine ritual is the question.
He does the drinking, I do the smoking. I'm just kidding.
I'm shit. Like I said, look.
Disclaimer: I would never drink or smoke before a match. I would never, but if anyone's asking, yes, that's the ritual.
Hey, I'm not mad at it. Like I said, it's done wonders for my Crohn's. If you haven't already done so, like I said, you might be a really big fan of our episode with Darren McCarty, where he takes us down the complete and utter CBD medical marijuana wormhole Like literally went down the whole deal of how he came up with his line and all that stuff. And, you know, you find out how much of a indie wrestling fan he is. This guy's everywhere. He was just there at GCW when we were there at Harpo's last week. And then you had, hell, when we were there for Raw, you know, he's right down behind past guests of the show, Jimmy Smith and shit. So, I mean, you'd have never thought it, but man, that dude knows about as much about wrestling as anybody you want to fucking pick at this point.
Nice. No, so yeah, I'll have to check that episode out because I'd like to hear that. I do have my medical card, so I would love to hear more about the medical.
I mean, that's why I say, man, I mean, there's a reason why I tell people you got to hit that big red subscribe button, because that way you won't miss shit. And you'll get to see me make a dumbass of myself on all these trips. I mean, and, you know, Devin lives in Texas, so, you know, Devin's going to be there with us too. So, I mean, hot damn, I feel like Texas is going to be a good time. And, you know, the best part of all of it, I'm going to get paid while I'm out in that bitch too. So it's all right. Like I said, I'm not complaining. I'm not bitching. I got to buy the plane ticket sometime this week and figure out how that's going to go. But speaking of what we got to do this week, you've got your big match against Rok C at MLW. So, yep. I mean, like I said, we've pretty much covered the gambit of Miranda Gordy's 21 and into 2022. So before we get your final thoughts on that match and where everybody can check it out and all that stuff, you know, do you have any big goals you got set out for 2022 as far as like promotions you want to hit, or, you know, do you have a eye in mind for somewhere you want to be?
Well, like I said earlier, I think to complete the list of kind of the biggest promotions in the States, at least, all I need is ROH and Impact. So maybe I can do something with them before the end of the year to get like all the major promotions under my belt. Maybe if I can do some stuff on the West Coast. I've yet to be out there. Maybe some California. The furthest I've been is Las Vegas, which is pretty far west, but like California, maybe like Seattle, stuff like that. I would like to hit another country this year. We were hoping for Germany. Obviously, with COVID restrictions, we weren't able to. Maybe Canada, maybe somewhere else in Europe if we can make it happen. So let's say hit all the major promotions by the end of the year and then another country. Those will be my biggest ones.
And then a stop in Detroit.
And then absolutely, I have to wrestle in Michigan, so it's on the list. Absolutely. I got to hit all 50 states before I retire. So
hey,
absolutely.
Man. I'm with it. Like I said, it's good to be able to link up in Texas again. Like I said, we had a damn good time the last time I was in Texas before I got caught in that bullshit where they shut down the whole city because of 2 inches of snow and shit. And dude, that was some of the most wild shit ever. Because I'm not gonna lie, it was cold as shit. But what was even funnier about it is I'm like, but wait a minute, like, I'm assuming the way they were talking about the snow, and I didn't take into effect that people's pipes were cracking like that and stuff. But I'm like, you got to realize I'm coming from Detroit. I'm used to, like, I mean, we've had like a mild ass winter this year, which, knock on wood, I'm totally glad about that. But hot damn, like I said, I was just mind blown because they're driving, like, I guess because they're not used to the ice and shit. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you guys are like that scared of the ice that you're crashing like that. Like, I'm like, damn. Like, it was a sight to behold, man. And then they didn't have enough people to like stock, you know, like man the flights and shit. So it was like, damn. I had like some bad luck trying to make it back to the post office. Well, I might be back a little bit late, boss.
Might be back late this year if you stick around for that Kush Fest.
I mean,
right.
But wait a minute,
snowed in until 420.
I was gonna say, what the fuck? We'd have to get a lot of snow for it to last from April 2nd to April 20th. I'd really have to.
Crazier shit has happened in Michigan. I don't know about Texas.
That's right.
Yeah. Dude, we'd really have to go some for me to be able to justifiably be able to get away with it. Yeah, fuck it. I'm just not gonna come back from Texas till after 420, and then I'll come back. I'm sure you're going to get bombed with mail, but fuck it. I'll come back after 420 is over, and that's just how we'll do this. I don't know, man. Like I said, 2022 is looking good, but like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you got going this Friday with MLW. So let everybody know where they can check it out, and any last thoughts you got for Rok C or any of that good stuff.
Rok C, I'll see you Friday. I'll also see Holly Dead, which is another big fight on Saturday at North Star Wrestling in Minnesota. So I'm gonna be hurting come Sunday. Win or lose, I'm gonna be hurting either way. You can, I believe, see MLW on MLW TV. It's a TV taping, so you can watch it there. I'm sure you can. I'm not sure where they air besides MLW TV. As far as the North Star, it's probably on YouTube. Most of my matches are on YouTube, so you can check it out there.
Check that shit out. Make sure you follow the social medias. If you haven't done so, follow our social medias. But I appreciate the time, and I'm glad that we got to link up again because I'm looking forward to Texas. Like I said, we got to link up and go find some fucking food. And I feel like we're gonna have a damn good time in Dallas.
One more thing.
Oh yeah, yes.
Go ahead.
You still talk to Michael a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
You tell him I need a Badstreet shirt, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much. also tell him I want Knoxville in the Rumble. All right, me versus Knoxville. That's
You
oh
and
my
Knoxville.
God, you're still mad. You're still that mad about Knoxville being in the Rumble. God damn.
I am.
I know. So,
dude, but what if like Johnny Knoxville just kicked you in the dick? Then what?
That's fine. I mean, one, I'd be in the Rumble, right? But
right.
dude, I don't know. Whatever. We'll save that for a later date again. I've already done my rant. On that.
I like it. I don't know, man. Like I said, it was a good to have you on again. Like I said, we're definitely going to have to catch up in Dallas. We're going to have to, if you guys are new here, make sure you stay tuned because we've got the big GCW show this weekend. And if you follow those social medias, you know that we'll be joined by PCO fresh off of signing with Impact and being part of that ladder match at Hammerstein. So like I said, you never know who's going to pop up in that box tonight. It was the beautiful Miss Miranda Gordy, who you can check out this Friday for MLW.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Hey, anytime. Like I said, you're like family over here. So like I said, hopefully one of these promotions wisens up and puts that pen to paper soon.
Maybe, hey, I'm doing just fine as I am. So either way, as long as I keep smooth sailing like I am, it is what it is.
Yeah. Enjoying the travels, right?
Absolutely. Right now, hey, I'm free as a bird, baby. Free bird.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, there you go. You just said it best. Like I said this Friday, I mean, we're going to see if the Freebird keeps flying over Rok C at MLW.
Yeah, keep that legacy going in Dallas, huh?
Hey, man, you got to, though. You got to, though.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for having me again.
Hey, always, like I said, I'll see you in a couple months.
Yep. Y'all take care.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a good night.
You too. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Later. All right. The queen of Badstreet, Miranda Gordy. So, what are your thoughts on the queen of Badstreet?
Cool people.
As
man.
always.
I like it.
As always, an entertaining interview. This is her third or fourth time that we've had her on now. Each time she adds another layer to her wrestling story, so it's always fun to catch up with her.
Hell yeah.
Then
Absolutely.
you got go ahead, J-Bone.
No, I was just gonna say I'm more of the historian of the wrestling stuff, man. I just think it's so cool that the cards fall where they may with the whole Dallas thing and her being on that card and the Von Erichs on the card. Wrestling history at its finest, man. I love when it comes full circle like that.
I'm with you 100%, man. Like I said, speaking of cards, we were just there for GCW Most Notorious that went down at Harpo's on Friday. What are your guys' thoughts on that card, and how are you guys feeling as we got this weekend? You've got GCW Hammerstein sold out this Sunday.
So my thoughts on the past weekend, we'll start there, is it was another great time, man. It really was. It was great to get with the boys again and have a couple beers and watch some people fuck each other up. But in all seriousness, card wise, you could tell they were kind of building into next week. They didn't necessarily pull all their big strings, I guess you could say. But it was still a very good match, or series of matches, a good card and all in all. And like I said, I just had more fun hanging out with the boys as much as I did anything, to be honest with you.
We almost got frostbite.
Dude, my feet were pretty fucking. My feet were pretty fucking cold by the time we were there. If any of you guys went to the GCW show here in Detroit, Ken, I know you've been to a few GCW shows. Feel free to let us know how you're feeling about GCW Hammerstein. But you ain't
so
kidding,
worth it,
dude.
It was so.
Oh my god, my feet were cold as shit.
So glad. While I was walking out my door, I almost grabbed my fucking lightweight, stylish jacket and shit. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of cold out there. I'm gonna fuck around and just wear the Carhartt.
Yeah.
And I am so glad I did. I tell you what, I didn't even take that thing off the whole fucking night because it was so like.
It was actually not that warm inside where we were standing either. I feel like there was a draft coming through there. But I mean, all in all, worth it, dude. Like, what a show that was, though. The crowd was so. That's why I said when in wrestling crowds, like, you can have a great card, you can have great matches, but if the crowd's not into it, it's really you don't get that full effect. And dude, at Harpo's, that crowd was pumped, man. That was a great time. I loved it. That was my first GCW show, so I was all in the mix. I was loving that shit.
I was loving, dude. Like I said, I've heard a lot about Hoodfoot, bro. I've heard a lot about Hoodfoot from what he's done in Michigan and Indiana, dude. I've already said it out there. I've already put the feelers out there. Feel free to hit him up on Twitter, but I feel like Hoodfoot needs to have a debut on Knockouts and 3 Counts this year because, man, that dude can take an ass whooping and just keep coming forward. Like, oh my God. That man got the shit beat out of him by Alex Colon and then just flipped the switch and started beating his ass after that suplex through the glass.
That is a bad dude for sure.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. I guess if I'm gonna highlight a couple matches real quick, it was the what did they call it? The scramble match in the beginning. Yeah, that was pretty entertaining. When the dude took the big dive off the stage in the beginning, that was a great way to start
the show too. That was like the start of the whole show. It's like here comes this guy flying off the stage, and if you look on the side of on the stage of Harpo's, it says absolutely no stage diving. I wish that could have been in the frame. The dude here comes just flying.
I wish one of the wrestling photographers could have been there and caught that, just like you say, right in frame where the sign's there and you can just see him full eagle ready to land.
Dude.
That would have been a great shot. But those two matches were the ones I guess that stuck out to me the most. The Effie and Alley Catch one was pretty entertaining as well, but it was all in all a good night. I'm curious. I know you guys will be paying. I know you guys will be paying attention to what leads into with next week. So what's your guys' thoughts going into the big show?
I'm looking forward to this shit, dude. Like I said, it's been announced. Like I said it earlier in the show. We will be joined next Tuesday by the French-Canadian Frankenstein. PCO will join us fresh off of his signing with Impact. But not only did he sign with Impact, he also now is in the ladder match for GCW. So I'm trying to look to find the graphics so I can tell you exactly all the names who are in it.
That's a big boy to be climbing up a ladder.
Oh yeah,
you're not. Here it is. He's in the. He's in the grab the. Go ahead.
I just seen him take some kind of bump off like the rope the other day. I don't know if
he does it off the apron in every match almost.
Dude, oh my God, this guy is a maniac. I mean,
and in his 50s though.
That's PCO though. That's PCO. He wouldn't have it any other way. You know what I mean?
Right. So listen to this. So he is now in the grab the brass ring ladder match. It's going to be Tony Depton versus Jordan Oliver versus Alex Colon versus PCO versus Leo Rush from AEW.
Wow.
Versus Jimmy Lloyd. So
Wow.
that shit is gonna get gnarly. Like I said, Saturday, we're gonna be watching the Royal Rumble at J Bone's house. That's this weekend.
No, it's
Excuse
the
me.
following Saturday.
Yeah, this Sunday. Like I said, I'm getting the GCW show. I don't know
That's
if y'all
on Sunday,
boys are
right?
coming through or not, but I got to see what happens at Hammerstein, because not only is that going down, they also announced that it's going to be Effie versus Jeff Jarrett, which we saw Effie go postal on fucking Jeff Jarrett after he cracked Effie with a guitar. And then the next night in Chicago, he cracked Alley Catch with the guitar. So, like I said, I said it on our social medias, which you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner. Effie versus Jeff Jarrett. PCO is on that card now. Like I said, it's going to be
There's a lot of good stuff on that card, dude. Even that's the
and the Briscoes got an open challenge.
The Briscoes got the open challenge, right? I mean, the Hammerstein, that's going to make it, dude.
Who do you want the open challenge to be, J-Bone?
Dude, I know me and you were talking about the other night. I don't see the FTR thing happening yet. I mean, it will happen, but I think they got a lot of room.
Man, why the fuck not? If they show up in Hammerstein, that place would go nuclear.
They could still build it, but hey, I mean, if they do it, I'm happy with it. I'm cool with that. But I don't know, man. I'd have to really sit down and think of a tag team I'd like to see other than FTR.
I'm genuinely looking forward to this show. And yes, for all of you that are listening that are the MMA fans of the show, I am aware that we do have UFC on Saturday and that we got Francis Ngannou, but we're going to get all up in that with our buddy Chris Connor from the Last Call, fellow Blue Wire show that I have been a past guest on. Now Chris is going to make his debut on the show, and we're going to talk all about that on Thursday. But yeah, man, it was a good time. But those weren't the only fights that we had, other than the main event, which I think was like by far and away like the best fight of that whole card. Cody and that Kathy, see, that's why we love you. You already beat us to it. Past guest of the motherfucking show, Cody Stamen is fighting this weekend. Corey's got his twisted tumbler, and hopefully Cody Stamen's going to be picking up another dub. Cody is a past guest of the show. I saw Cody when I was in Vegas at Extreme Couture. So you're exactly right, Kathy. I can't wait to see how Cody does this weekend as well. I'm looking forward to this pay-per-view, dude. Like I said, it's going to be dope. Pretty much going to be an action-filled weekend, man. I'm looking forward to it. But what were your thoughts on what we saw this past weekend? I mean, really, if we're being honest, in my opinion, the only two real high spots on that card really were the main event, and Caitlin Chicadze had had a good performance, but it was what it was. What were your guys' thoughts on UFC Vegas 46?
Well, I got, because I immediately after the fact, the main event had me so hyped. I mean, you can attest to this, Kyle. I sent you a fucking whole story, a half a book worth of notes. I'm not going to go through all of those, but I feel as though, like, the Brandon Royval fight, so glad to see him back on the winning side of it all. I feel as though he's one of the top talents at 125, and he's just always game. So I was definitely glad to see him come out on top. Like you had mentioned, Caitlin Chicadze, she did an amazing job of just doing her thing. She really did. She looked so comfortable out there. She looked like she had advanced since her last fight. She looked like everything you would want to see out of a top 5 contender in her division. She did a great job. Co-main event was fun. 2 big boys that realistically probably shouldn't have been in the co-main event, but they love putting these heavyweights up higher on the card. Jake Collier did a great job. He ends up getting him Chase Sherman out of there in the first round. He at least did a good job for somebody who was a former middleweight who has now worked their way through 85 to 205 to now having to cut weight to make 265. Wow. He at least is still putting on some entertaining fights for somebody who's went through such a body transformation as a professional athlete.
A lot of eating.
I don't critique people in their normal lives for, being whatever size you want to be and be comfortable being who you are. But if you're going to entertain the thing of being a professional athlete, I feel as though if your natural body size just 4 years ago was 185, that's not
Yeah.
great tendencies. I mean, granted, he looked great at heavyweight. He's got way quicker hands than almost all these guys. He still carries significant power because he's now moving around a 265 frame. But it's weird, right? Like if we would have seen him the whole time from 265, I would be praising him a lot more for this fight. But it's just still kind of weird to me.
Right.
Last fight before we get into the main event. Slava Claus, dude drops freaking it was Bush, but what was his first name? God damn it. Can't think of his name. Dakota Bush, maybe? I think it was Dakota Bush. I could be mistaken on that first name. I had mentioned to you, Kyle, in my little short summary of these fights that I felt as though if that main event didn't play out the way it was, that was the fight that was going to get fight of the night honors, because Bush was just going in there and he was, in my eyes, clearly winning that fight, and then just got smoked by a liver shot, like just folded and just instantly curled. It was entertaining on both sides. You could see that the Slava Claus was going in there and doing his thing, but Bush looked like he was going to take it fairly easily, and just that liver shot, man. I know you had mentioned
Slava
it
Klaus
millions of
is
times.
coming. Shoot
I had heard an interesting story, because if this guy does ever make his way up through the ranks, which putting on entertaining fights like that, he very well might. The reason he got that nickname is because he traveled from, if I'm not mistaken, Slovakia to Sacramento with no phone call, no email, no nothing, to go train at Alpha Male, and just brought a gift and said, I want to come live here and train, and spoke very broken English, and has now worked his way up to where he's now got his first fight coming off the Contender Series in the UFC. So
That's awesome.
entertaining story for sure. But what's your guys' thoughts on that main event, since I've been the one rambling for the last couple minutes?
Who, you want to go first, J-Bone?
Yeah, I'll go, man. I know we talked about it on the show last week, man. I was completely wrong. I thought Chicadze was going to come out there and just roll Kattar, dude. But hey, he proved me wrong, man. That whole fight.
I did too.
That whole fight, man. He did his job, man. He did it the way he needed to do it, man. And Chicadze didn't look pretty, that's for sure. So shout out to Kattar, man. I wonder what's next for him, though. I want to curious to see what's coming up for him.
He's got to at least have one more fight before he can really get back to the title, I think, regardless.
He was number 5, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, he might. I mean, I don't know that he really moves up too much.
3 to 5, somewhere in
there, right?
He was 5, I believe.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know that he even really moves up that more, but I think he'd need to have at least one more before he gets a title shot. Here's the thing. I said I thought Chicadze was going to win, but I mean, dude, Calvin Kattar fucking put it on. Calvin Kattar put it on Chicadze, dude. I mean, Chicadze showed that he's not, he's not soft. He stood in there and took the damage, but dude, Kattar put it on him though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the pressure was getting to him so bad, man. That, like I had mentioned in the notes again, the pressure was fucking real, dude. The pressure. That Calvin Kattar kept Giga on the back foot the whole fight. And anytime that he didn't have him completely backing up, it was just because he was trying to get him to set up and stand still so he could land a shot. It was impressive, man. Like those spinning back elbows that he was landing. He just truly showed another element to his game. It was like it was. I had mentioned it talking to you, Kyle, after the fight. It was the Holloway effect, right? Like we seen Brian Ortega come back after taking such a dominant beating from Holloway and just show levels improvement. I feel like Calvin Kattar did the same thing this past weekend, man. He showed that, hey, I took a little bit of time off because I did take some abuse in my last fight, but that didn't mean I did not work on myself, didn't improve my game. And he definitely showcased that, man. He showcased that he had progressed to another level in his striking game. For him to go out there and for 4 rounds at least, you can say that first round he kind of wrestle fucked him and controlled him into that, dominant first round.
It's funny how many people I got saying wrestle fucked him, because I swear to God,
I've heard that term my whole life.
Devin,
it wasn't from you.
I remember Devin told me, he was like, I've never heard somebody say they wrestle fucked him. I was like, dude, that's just.
But entertaining first round, just the way that he took his back, basically dove at him to try to secure the position, right, and then was able to hold him there, wear on his gas tank, and you could see Giga was already taxed coming into the second. It was like it had already drained him that significantly, and then the pressure just kept it going. And for him to stay on the feet with somebody who's a world-class level kickboxer that came into MMA just to make more money, but was a championship level kickboxer, and to stand on the feet with him for 4+ rounds and win every single one of those rounds, man, it was truly impressive. I had noted on last week's show that I don't count Kattar out, don't expect him to lose or anything like that, but I had also leaned like you guys did, where I felt like Giga was he was looking like this unstoppable force, right? He was looking like somebody that he was going to take something crazy, or maybe like a Brian Ortega submission artist or something along those lines, to take him out. But no, somebody outstruck him on the feet, stopped that kick. He even ate a couple of those notorious Giga kicks early in the fight, man, that you seen put Barbosa down. You seen him put Cub Swanson down. And Calvin Kattar was just able to kind of work through it. I had heard a lot of notes about how he kept switching stances to kind of preoccupy Giga's mind on where to be able to throw that kick and when to be able to. It was just a masterclass from Calvin Kattar, man. It's really hard to say anything less than that.
Do you think it's because Giga overlooked him, though?
I don't think it was necessarily because he overlooked him. I just feel as though he didn't necessarily give him the respect that he deserved. And also Calvin Kattar is that dog. Just because he lost to Max Holloway the way he did doesn't mean he wasn't in that position for no reason, right? Like, he had worked his way to arguably what would have been a title fight if Volk wasn't, the whole thing with Volkanovski didn't play out the way it did with Holloway. It would have been Holloway versus Calvin Kattar for the belt. So it was such an entertaining fight. Only thing I can say, man, is to me, it diminishes the shit out of Giga because of all the shit talking he was saying going into this fight, man. You cannot sit there and call the current champ every single name under the book, tell him, go out in media and say that he's accepting the easiest fight that he can in the division just so he can defend his belt, shit like that, and then go out there and lay a goose egg like that and get 50-40 forward. Like, you didn't even win a round, and not only that, you got 10-8 in the last round. So, like, he's gonna have to. Maybe we'll see the Calvin Kattar effect now that Giga got his ass kicked. Maybe he'll take 9 months or a year off and come back just to improve form and stuff like that. But
yeah, he was riding like a 4-fight win streak, right? He probably just got too comfortable.
I mean, four fight in the UFC, it was like 8 in total or some shit.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think a lot of it's got to do with, we've heard past guests of the show. Hey, which if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But past guests of the show, Jimmy Smith, say it. Like, there's levels to this. Like, it's almost like there's Volk and there's Holloway, and then the rest of the division. I mean, they're pretty much over top of everybody. So, I mean, I kind of feel like that's where we're at. And I mean, I want to see Volk versus Holloway.
What? Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean it.
I want to see Volk versus Holloway again. I mean, really, that's the only fight that you can really do at this point that's going to truly crown anybody at 145. Because even, no offense to Korean Zombie, but I mean, honestly, I feel like Volk is, clearly better than him too.
Yep, Volk very clearly should win that fight. But that being said, if Zombie's able to go in there and get him out of there, or even if he does win on the cards, which I feel like would be even more of a daunting task. I feel like if Zombie does win submission or knockout for your bet sake,
It's gotta be.
But with that being said, he could still definitely. I feel like he poses way more of a challenge to Volkanovski than he did to Holloway, and I feel like it's still going to be a very interesting fight either way. And I feel I've seen a couple fans and a couple media outlets and stuff kind of complain almost about this announcement of this fight. And yeah, Holloway obviously is the one that should be in, but he can't. He's out with injury. We don't know even a timetable of when he's rumored to be back or anything along those lines. Volkanovski's came out and said he wants to try to get 3 fights in this year. He's actually annoyed that the fight got moved up to April because he wanted to, that kind of shortens his rest of his year to get those other fights in. So you kind of, who's next in line? And we had argued that on the show, I think it was Tuesday of last week. And realistically, Korean Zombie, Josh Emmett, maybe Arnold Allen, who doesn't get talked about enough. He's on like an 8-fight.
I think Josh Emmett's got to be next if it's not the obvious names, dude.
Mm-hmm. So
you can't go that far down the list, dude. But I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, we know at this point it's going to be Zombie and Volk. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But another thing that we're going to have to see how it plays out. What are your guys' thoughts on Amanda Nunes leaving the American Top Team?
That was such a shocker to me. And another layer to that, I don't know, Kyle, you might be aware of this. I don't know if you are, Javon. But she was actually managed by Dan Lambert as well. So it wasn't like she just left her team, her coach, her camp, everything else. She literally left her whole management and everything. Like it's a whole fresh slab. So,
and there's no reason why out yet. Nothing yet.
Well, nothing.
Now, to be fair, like she said, to be fair, she said she's leaving to open her own gym. Now that doesn't mean that she can't be getting coached by the same coaches just out of her own gym. Like, because let's not forget with Amanda Nunes. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, I get it. Originally, she was at MMA Masters, and then when she lost the first time, then she went to American Top Team. But I mean, let's face it, for the last how many years, she's killed everybody while she was at American Top Team. So, I mean, one loss, I don't think, changes her mind up that drastically. But at the same time, I mean, it's interesting. And I mean, do you think, I heard a lot of people throw around like the word like desperate. Do you think that it's like her being desperate because she got beat?
It's not typically a good look, right? Like for every, like whenever you hear about this, like the Deontay Wilder, right? Like that was such a big thing when his cornerman had threw
Joe from Bayonne, who I know was checking us out when Jimmy came on, said on Jimmy's show today, he said he thinks that Amanda Nunes is like the female Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, I mean, like things didn't work out in my favor, so I got to just start fresh. Like you are the 2-division champion. You are known as
you're still champion.
GOAT. Yeah, still champ. You still have a belt to defend or a belt to try to win back. And it's really your choice. Like, she's worked so much and done so much well for the UFC. She doesn't even have to try to go chase 35 anymore.
Do you think
she could just take?
I'm sorry. Do you think it's a big deal though if she didn't lose that fight? If she won the fight and dominated the fight and she decided to
well, so that kind of goes into what I was saying though, because like that's the thing. Yeah, we've heard she's leaving to go open her own gym, but she hasn't really made a statement as to what happened or who's going to be coaching her or what it is. Because, like, here's the other thing. How many guys or girls do we know at this point that have either opened up their own small spot and then they bring their own coaches out there? Like, I mean, look at what Cowboy did with the BMF ranch. I mean, until we see who's in her corner come time for the fight, I don't think it's really fair to kind of be like, oh, well, she just up and switched because she lost. Because again, we don't know yet if she really did switch. Yeah, I think she might have just wanted the privacy of her own gym. And if they're trying to,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean it also could be setting up a business, for after fighting. They got their daughter and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. Right. I'm still on the fence yet of saying, oh, it's drastic and oh, she's leaving ATT, because let's see, who she puts in there next. Because like I said, I mean, outside of that one fight, she's been absolutely dominant since she got to ATT. So I mean, we're gonna have to see how that plays out. Another thing I wanted to talk about is after all that, it really looks like Kayla Harrison's gonna stay in the fucking PFL. After all that.
I know that may be shocking to so many people.
It's not shocking, but I just feel like you would want other challenges. But then again, if they're backing the Brinks truck up to her, which it sounds like they're going to.
And
all about the money, man.
Shit, if it was my career, you damn right.
Yeah.
In this whole media tour, she did nothing but a great job of building her name, building her star more. Everybody wanted to see her. And what's wrong with her fighting another season, fighting a 1-season deal, get another 4 fights on her record, get another belt, get another $1 million, all of her fight and her show and win money and all of that, because that's not included in the the $1 million prize is a separate thing. So she's, who knows what she's totaling throughout a whole season. It could be well into the 2 millions.
Kathy, I want to know what you think. Where did you want to see where'd you want to see Kayla Harrison end up? I mean, I don't know, man. Here's my thing. It's like Kayla Harrison's still young, and yeah, I guess technically you could she could go through and win another season on PFL, but like, I don't know. It's tough because on one hand, like, she's about to make more money at PFL than she's going to in the UFC. And if anything, especially now that Nunez lost her belt at 35 and if the rumors are true and she's leaving ATT, now you don't got to worry about Amanda Nunez either. So I don't know. It just I don't know how I feel about that. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, this Thursday we're going to be talking about the Ngannou fight with our buddy Chris Connor from The Last Call. And it's starting to get close to last call for your boy because I'm pretty damn hungry. But yeah, man, I think that pretty much covers up most everything with MMA and wrestling and as a whole. Like I said, we're going to talk about UFC this weekend. I mean, I guess we can talk about that a little bit, but do you think so we've heard already Francis Ngannou say that he's not going to fight another fight under his current contract after this fight. What are your thoughts on what happens with Francis Ngannou in this situation, both in a win and a loss?
Well, I also want to divulge a little deeper into that on Thursday because that was one of my biggest topics going into this pay-per-view. It really, I like Ngannou, so I didn't know who to vote for or root for, I guess you could say, going into this fight and stuff. But with the way everything's played out in the whole MMA sphere, and especially in the UFC, because they're the torch bearers, they're the ones that are on the top of the pedestal every time. For everything that comes up with fighter pay, and for every fan out there that loves watching these athletes go out there and risk their lives and try to make millions enough to change their family's direction, you got to root for Ngannou. I don't usually bring up his points too often on here because I know he gets harped on by, it seems like, everybody in the MMA sphere, but Brendan Schaub kind of broke this one down perfectly, in my opinion. He breaks down the fact that Ngannou has done everything right in the direction of being a champ.
How can he not fight if he has a contract? I mean, they
to
basically
break it down to her. He has, I believe it's like 4 or 5 more fights, but the way his contract's scheduled out is it had a time lapse where it ends at the end of this year, whether he's fought out those fights or not. and this is from his management group. This isn't directly from the UFC. So, but also you can kind of tell the way the UFC is scrambling about it. It very well might be the truth. So
he's got to fit so many fights in one calendar year. Is what you're saying?
No, if he sits out the remainder of the year, then his contract will be null and void. And that's what he's talking. That's why it's such a big deal where Kyle brings up in the beginning that he's willing to fight this one and then just sit out the rest of the year until his contract's void.
Because he wants to do the boxing thing. And with ESPN Plus, they've already said, Top Rank has already said they would put the thing together for him versus Tyson Fury. And Dana's pretty much put a kibosh on any of his guys dealing with that. And so he doesn't want that, but Ngannou wants a chance, or not Ngannou, Ngannou wants a better chance to make more money. Now, I hope for Ngannou's sake he doesn't lose, simply for the fact that I wouldn't put it past the UFC with that, for that exact reason that you just said, with his contract essentially being up after he fights this fight. You know, I wouldn't be shocked to watch the UFC just try to let him go because there's some petty ass fuckers like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If you're talking petty, the petty thing to do would be to drag his contract through until the very bitter end, knowing he's not going to fight. It doesn't matter. We still got you on the books,
and they could do that too, though.
You can't provide competition if we have you here. So,
and they could do that too. So, like I say, I mean, that's definitely that's
hopefully
definitely
he goes out there. Hopefully, he goes out there and just lays this dude out and cuts some cool ass promo. You know what I mean? Like on Dana White in the UFC, like, see you guys, taking this belt with me.
In my opinion, the hopefully in this situation would be that he goes in there, gets the win, shows the UFC that, hey, I'm either gone or you guys kind of play ball here. Like Kyle had mentioned, ESPN Plus already has all the platform to be able to do everything. They don't even have to run
and they already have the hookup with his people.
I mean, when it comes to money, though,
they don't even have to necessarily run it under Top Rank. They could run it under a mixed promotion. They could do it under whatever the case. Of course, Top Rank would have to be affiliated because Fury's under Top Rank. But
I mean, why is that any different than what they did with Conor McGregor, dude?
Can Dana White and ESPN and all those guys really play ball with the boxing dollar sign? Like, is that a thing?
Well, I mean, dude, if there were ever a chance for Ngannou.
So what Ngannou's brought up a ton in his negotiations is a lot less about money and it's a lot more about being active. He said that in his last 3 or 4 years, which is the truth, he's got roughly like 2 minutes of fight time in the last year, 2 years. And then if you're saying 5 years, it was other than counting his Stipe fight and his Derek Lewis fight, it was 5 minutes total over the span of 6 fights in 4 or 5 years or some shit. So he just was bitching about not being active enough. That was his biggest thing. It wasn't necessarily about
stop going out there and kicking everybody's ass then.
Yeah, stop going out there and fucking knocking everybody out in 10 seconds. But no, in all seriousness, though, that is a legitimate gripe with somebody who's at the not later stages, but that coming up on the later stages of his career. That's a huge thing. If he's healthy, he's at the best.
Well, especially because heavyweight out of all weight classes is the weight class that you could drag out a little bit longer of a career. So, I mean,
yeah, but can you, if you're somebody like Ngannou who relies so much on speed and strength, that's the first.
If he continues to fight like he did in his last fight and show that he has other skills than just having to time somebody to knock him out, he can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the power's the last thing to go.
Dude's in his 30s, right? Bottom line is he's ready to make a big time check, dude. And
and as he should. I mean,
absolutely he should. So for your
as he should, the same as I think Stipe is kind of getting the raw end of this fucking deal, being one of the greatest heavyweight of all time, and you're not even in the conversation because you lost.
Because you lost.
That shit kills me so bad. And you hear so many people talk about Ngannou's run and stuff. And don't get me wrong, big Ngannou fan, happy for him that he made his way to the championship and everything about it. But this will be his first title defense. Like, I don't know why everybody's acting like Ngannou's on some insane run where he's like the most.
But he never even got the
like,
chance to go on that run though, because they tried to fuck him after 1 month of having the title. That's why people are saying that.
No, I think people's.
I'm ready.
I think people are
ready to
forgetting
die.
a little bit of like when he actually acquired that belt, and the Curtis Blades fights, those weren't in there. You know, like a bunch of these fights that people are like including in his like title run or like his dominance over the division and stuff, they weren't while he was crown champ. So
I'm just saying it's not like he's had a fair crack to really fight much as champion though.
And that
True.
all harpens down to his biggest gripe, right? If we could get Ngannou 3 or 4 times a year, which 4, I feel like the UFC is just not going to put on 4 heavyweight title fights in a year, but 3 could be a thing. 3 definitely could be a thing, and if they were able to work that in the contract, work some type of a side show fight that would entertain the hell out of everybody with like an Ngannou Fury, Ngannou,
yeah.
You know,
they did it with
Conor,
top
level boxers. Yeah,
they did it with McGregor.
Like I said, that's my whole point. If you're going to do that for Conor, then do the same for Ngannou.
No.
I mean,
go get your check, homeboy. Go get your check, man.
If you're going to talk doing the same things for different athletes that you've done before, what's your guys' thoughts on this whole they're not even entertaining Henry Cejudo thing and him going back and forth with the UFC talking about, you guys did it for GSP, you guys have done it multiple times. What's different now? Why am I all of a sudden the one that's trying to jump queue even though I won 2 belts and defended both belts? Like that's a big thing.
I mean, in a way, I do understand.
I would say, I don't know.
The drawing power, I think, is one thing, and number 2, I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't do that because, like we just mentioned with Conor and all that stuff, but I don't think so. For Henry Cejudo to come back and fight in it now, me as a fan, is that a fight that I kind of would be more excited about? Sure, but at the same time, I also understand to a degree what Dana's saying too, in that Henry Cejudo ain't done shit. I mean, obviously he looks like he's in good shape still, but I mean, he's not even fought at 45 yet, let alone to come in and automatically fight for a belt. That being said, this is another case where the UFC is basically put their foot in their mouth due to their own past. So I don't know. I mean, is it the fight? I mean, I would have liked to seen that fight happen. But at the same time, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that if people keep chirping about it through the rest of the year, that it could be something that maybe comes down the line if everything shakes out the way it does. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the number 1 45 fight to make when it's available to be had has to be Holloway versus Volk again. But like I said, I mean, only time will tell with that one. We're running short on time on today's show. Like I said, Thursday night, 9 p.m. We'll be back here again with our buddy Chris Connor from The Last Call, talking about UFC, making our picks for this weekend. We'll also be talking a little bit more in depth about GCW versus the World that's going down this Sunday at Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. And yes, you heard it here. The hype is real, or maybe it's the electricity from PCO's entrance and all that shit, but PCO will make his return to Knockouts and 3 Counts fresh off of signing with Impact. He's also going to be in the Grab the Brass Ring ladder match that's going down this Sunday, GCW Hammerstein in New York. Like I said, a lot of good shit to talk about, and like I said, all the more reason you got to make sure you hit that subscribe button. But before I get out of here, we mentioned Seattle earlier in the show. I received a message, which I tell y'all at the social medias, we always leave our DMs open. Ain't nobody scared out here. But shout out to John Reedy, man, a guy who came in and chopped it up with me at the post office, ended up watching the show off that. Now the guy's moved out to Seattle of all places and is still watching the show. So, I mean, motherfucker, we're expanding state by state. I know we've got Florida in here watching. You got Michigan. You've got Seattle. We know we've got Sophia over there in the Canada. So we've got people watching from everywhere. We had people from Germany watching and all those things. And we've got a lot of good stuff coming your way. Like I said, PCO on Tuesday, Chris Connor this Thursday to talk UFC with us. And then next Thursday, we're going to make our Royal Rumble picks and pick who we think is going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. So all the more reason that you got to make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you're in the area for WrestleMania, hit your boy up, because like Miranda Gordy said, WrestleMania is going to be lit. You'll definitely have to check out that vlog and see what kind of food I stuff my fat ass face with. And until next time, and in the in-between time, you just better be careful, before you better get got if you're going down Badstreet. Peace.